everybody, we have been working on the PsyKnight class for the last 3 to 4 weeks, and I think it's finally to a point to where I can show you almost all of it, and we just finish up our Mishaps table today. I have a nostalgic love of AD&D's psionics until you had to run it. Running it was difficult. So when I made the PsyKnight, I had really 3 goals. 1, I wanted to make psionics for Shadowdark because there is none. 2, I didn't want them to be like magic. Yes, I want you to have to roll to cast. Yes, I want you to roll to focus, but I don't want you using pre-made spells for everything. Or in this case, manifestations. So let's go over to the table and let's see all of the fun stuff that has been created. And today we'll design the rest of the Mishap table. So, besides those fish hooks, that was a previous conversation. If you missed it, we were talking about fish hooks for Dreadfuls. You can find the link down below for the live show. But PsyKnight is something that I really wanted to develop that was different. And I'm doing this in Canva. You'll see some notes on the side that pop up. These are notes to me for things to do. But I've made the PsyKnight. Donned in heavy plate, adorned in Psy gems to empower their abilities. A PsyKnight is trained in the art of body and mind, the perfection of war. So they get all swords, all shields, and all armor. They get a d6 per level. I didn't want them to have too many hit points. You know, Thanian and one other language. I'm going to make PsyKnights based on beasts. So I'm going to make a Cyclopean, and I'm going to make a beast ancestry for you to play. You get the Psyblade out of the gate. If you're wondering what IDC is, that means it's an intelligence DC. It's a 13. It's focus-based, which means you roll every round. You summon a psionic echo of the sword you are wielding out to near range. Roll attack and damage once. Apply to both or same targets. Psyblade can be moved within near on a successful focus roll. Psyblade ignores 2 armor, resets after a rest. You'll see we also have trained defense. Choose if you have advantage on con or intelligence, that whole body and mind. Innate power, you gain 1 power every even level. My goal was to fill the gap. I don't like that there are dead levels in any game. And I feel like even levels giving you a new power feels good because you're getting either a talent or you're getting something new. I like that idea. Manifesting. You can manifest psi powers you know. When manifesting, roll with intelligence against DC 10 plus psi power tier. I have this here. This is to put art down here. And to remind me the tattered edge is going to be so it blends. You can see the PsyKnight abilities here. 2d6 effect duplicates equal reroll. On a 2, you can maintain focus on 2 different disciplines at once, which is really powerful. On a 3 to 6, choose psi power and gain advantage on manifesting it. 7 to 9 is +2 to strength, int, or +1 to melee. Thanks to Nick in chat who was talking about the different charts they do for the 2d6. I always thought they were all the same. They're not. They do weight them, so we weighted them a little different. 10 to 11, +1 to sword and attack and damage. And the 12, if you roll that 12 on 2d6, gain 1 use of Psyblade for the day. This can be rolled a max of 2 times, letting you have up to 3 times you can summon that Psyblade, which is pretty cool. If we go down to manifestations, I should be clear about something here. I wanted what Knave gave us with random spells, but I wanted it for psionics because my thought was you had the ability to use your brain to do more than a normal person. You have the ability to make manifestations real, like things in your head real. But I didn't want everyone's abilities to feel the same. I didn't want everyone to have fireball, everyone to have teleportation, everyone to have a flaming blade. I wanted some variety. So this is where the innate power manifestation table comes in. I want you to roll what you get out of it. And you're going to roll on each one of these columns to determine what you get. So far, we've tested this in, I think, part 1 and part 2, and it turns out pretty well. You have to be a little creative, but you're not rolling them that often. Over the course of 10 levels, 10, you're only going to have 5 of these. You can go and learn other powers from other PsyKnights and Psychics, though, but you specifically learn their ability. You don't get to roll. So let's check out what this looks like. So manifestation tables is 2d6 as well. You see psychosis, psychometabolism, psychokinesis, psychokinesis, and psychoportation. I know it's confusing, but I wanted it to be that. I wanted to have some flavor. They're all mental abilities, and they're pulled from AD&D's psionics, but flavored for what we're doing. So you would roll 2d6, you get yourself whatever this psychosis is. I'll roll in chat, and I'll put it on screen for you. So exclamation point 2d6, and this is what we get. So when we roll this, we're going to look at the table and figure out how we pull up our abilities. For mine, you can see I rolled it looks like a 2. So we get a 2. If the audience would like to roll me the rest of those, I'll pop those up on screen as I'm talking. So I got 2. So I got psychosis. When you roll down to disciplines are these. You can see psychosis, focus, choose read a thought, telepathy in a language you know, or disadvantage on casting. So you pick your discipline and you get this one, and now you're going to choose which one of those things you wanted to do. That's what you're going to do with your discipline. If we roll again in chat, we're going to get a 2d6 roll, and we're going to do uses per day. So, for example, right now we got 11 from serving hands, and what that does is a once per day. So now we got psychosis once a day. That once a day means that we're only going to be able to use this ability once a day when we manifest it, and then if we ever fail manifesting it, it's done. Right? Why did we use uses per day? So this is kind of a little bit deeper than, and I don't want to go too hard, but magic in Shadowdark, you only can use a spell until you fail, which is cool. You get repetition out of it, right? But my thought was these manifestations you get way less frequently than you do spells. And what I mean by that is you probably have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spells. But if you're only manifesting one ability, that means that you kind of got to figure out, how do I let them use these more than just once? So the uses per day gives them a chance to be able to use it more than one time. So let's go back over and we'll show what our next roll is, which is for range. And then we'll get one more for target. So for range, Nick rolled a 5 for us. That means that we are going to be getting 5, which is close. So now we have psychosis, once per day, close range, which means it doesn't go too far, but it's decent. If you look in the front of your Shadowdark book, it'll give you all of your ranges. So that's pretty good. We can go out to close range. Question is, who can we target? And we really need to decide, do we want to read thoughts? Do we want that, or do we want to cause disadvantage on spell casting? So what I usually do is I grab my Shadowdark book, I flip it over. The very first thing has distance. Close is 5 foot, near is 30 foot, far is within sight. Man, it means this is a touch attack. I think the idea of touching someone like a Vulcan almost to read their thoughts makes the most sense to me. But the question is, who can I affect with it? Who can I affect? So, Nick rolls again. He gets us a 12. A 12 means weapon. Oh my god. So how do I want to do this? Well, what if we are now an object reader? That telepathy is we can read the manifestation of things that have touched that object. Have it be intelligent or things that people have used. So you could pick up a weapon that has recently murdered somebody, grab it, use it, and use telepathy with it and learn what it is. So this is how the disciplines work. It's super fun. I love this idea. Telepathy in a language you know, or disadvantage on casting rolls. The idea of this being a thing is cool. You could also go the disadvantage route. You could grab someone's weapon in the middle of combat and then make it so that whatever they're using as their implement to cast, they now have disadvantage, and all you have to do from then on out is focus on it to keep it running. So that's how you roll up your manifestations. Let's talk about the next part. I wanted you to be able to flex how these powers work. I didn't want them to be static all the time. So I made the DCT, which is a difficulty class tier. We already do this. When you're casting spells in Shadowdark, it's 10 plus the tier level, and you roll against it. We're doing the same thing here, but we don't have tiers. You just have your baseline. Everything's an 11. It starts at tier 1. When you manifest a power, you can increase the DCT to add one of the following per tier. Tiers 2 through 5, because everything's tier 1 to start. You can add a general Psy Enhancer, which we'll get to later. Or you can increase the range by a step. So again, close to near. So if this person was like, I want to do this out to near for my telepathy, they could. It's just a tier 2 casting. I want to do it further out than that. You roll again. You could do it one step only though. So that means that if you get close, you can't go too far out. You could do double close next. That's how that step would go up. You could also increase the target by one step. Maybe you want the telepathy to be to 2 people. So you could touch 2 people, gain their information on guards that are being like maybe 2 criminals that have just robbed the place. You could get the thoughts from 2 people at once by raising it by 1. I like this. The Psy Enhancers are going to let you do even more, which we'll get into that whole idea of adorned in gems that we talked about in the description earlier. Let's talk about developing Psy powers. You can permanently learn a Psy power from another psionic mind. Notice I said psionic, not PsyKnight, not psychic. Anyone who has psionics, yes, I'm spelling it PSY. Why? Because I fucking like it. It looks cool. I like using Ys when I'm doing design work. So train with them for 1 day and make a DC 15 intelligence check. On failure, you take 1d6 per tier of the Psy power you're trying to learn, whatever manifestation they are trying to teach you. You can never learn that power from the subject again. If you fuck it up, never again. Psy powers you learn in this way don't count against your known Psy powers. So a Psy power is the manifestations here once you roll them up. Maybe I'll change the words here to manifestation instead of Psy power, but you get the idea. We're going to go through our editing process still. And then we have Psy Enhancers. So you can learn from people, but I wanted you to be able to flex even more. And I always loved the idea of meta magic feats from like 3.0 and 3.5 when they really came out. There was some stuff in 2nd edition advanced spells and magic as well that you could do. But I like the idea of being able to multiply and amplify and change your abilities. So Psy Enhancers are gems that psychics can focus a manifestation through and modify the power's effect. Some are general and can be applied to any discipline, while others are discipline specific. Each one takes a gear slot. So you have to carry these. You can't have a fucking shit ton, but they allow you to flex that little tiny power you have more. So general, we got amplified. It's +2 tier. Focus rolls are with advantage. Boom, I'm going to cast it as 2 tiers higher, but I have advantage on all my rolls. Power, increase the damage die 1 step. So you could increase it 1 normally through DCT and 2 from having the enhancer gem. And it takes 2 tiers. And you add those on. Redirect, it's +3 tier, but if you have psychokinesis, it's only 2 because that's kind of part of that innate power. Redirect melee or range damage to target of Psy power. Look, I put that 2 on psychokinesis because I want people to understand that a GM and a player could make new versions of Psy Enhancers. And maybe some of them are easier for certain disciplines. So we get split target, uncover, and those are all the generals to start. I wanted a nice, broad, easy category of things you could use. But psychokinesis gets its own, like brain bleed, foggy memory, mind wipe, which is my favorite, I think. It's a +2 tier. The target loses the next spell cast until complete rest, no matter their role. So they cast fireball, and you cast mind wipe on them beforehand, and you focus and hold that up. Every time they cast a spell, they lose it. You can literally wipe their mental memory of how to cast these spells out. That's why it's 2 tiers. Who knows? I might make that one 3. It is pretty powerful, but goddamn does it feel good. And if you wanted to, you could go through and step these up. You can range and you can target, but remember, You could even add damage. If it does no damage, you can add damage to it, which is cool. That means you get that nosebleed, eye bleed kind of feel. And each one of the disciplines got their own. Psychokinesis gets 2, psychoportation gets 3, psychometabolism, changing your body, gets 3. Claw growth is really cool. No matter what you're casting, you add 2 tiers to it, and you grow claws that you can fight with. And as long as you're focusing and maintaining whatever it is, guess what? You get to keep your claws. But that wasn't enough. I believe that anytime a new class comes out, it should come with new gear. To me, gear is some of the fun parts for players, and as a GM, they're fun to design. And I wanted to come up with gear that made sense for psionic casters, psionic users. So I made 5. I have ideas for more, but I think this is enough to start. Hell, it's more than you get in most games. So I made Psy powers, or Psy gears, Psy armor attachment, Psy power, Psy weapon attachment, training helm, and psionic harmonic gem. Cost us 10 per tier for a few of these. The harmonic gem's really expensive. But the harmonic gem is probably the one, it's the one that most people are going to want. A harmonic gem, when used, you can basically replenish your failed manifestation. It's pretty cool. I like that idea, that you can use this to get back an ability. But even better, the Psy armor attachment, you can attach one Psy enhancer to your armor, removing its use of a gear slot. So if you got one that you're going to use all the time, you can attach it and just have it as part of your gear. Put it on your armor, your weapon, or whatever. But that training helm grants advantage when learning a new Psy power from another psychic. That's awesome. That means that you can make sure that 15 is hit and not take fucking blowback. But that takes us to the next part. And this is what we're going to be designing live on the show. If you want to see how I do this, we're going to be going through and designing all of the mishap. Yeah, I know there's an E there. There isn't now. So we're going to be designing the Psy mishaps live on the show. You can go check the description out below. It'll have the link to it. We're going to be going through and designing all of these. But you can see I have a 17 tier. So D12 plus tier. This came from the, I think it was Nick and a couple of the people during maybe PsyKnight 2 build, where the idea was you want a gap where you're going to be rolling in and then getting more dangerous, the more powerful the power you're using is, the manifestation. And then I put right along the side the damages that happen to you. So we're going to put a little bracket and color code these to match the damage die. But that's it for this video. If you're watching this later and you're not watching the live stream, you know the routine. Click the bell, share with your friends, but really comment down below. Do you have a favorite psionic character in history? I put Psylocke. She still is one of my favorites. And I think that maybe Legion is number 2 because that motherfucker could do anything. If you have a favorite, put it in the comments down below. And maybe if I like one of the ones you put out when I publish this, I'll hit you up and send you a free copy. That's it for me. Remember, watch, listen, learn, be a better gamer. Go design something for your home game. Trust me, it feels good when you're done.